UFC Vegas 109, Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Hernandez just ended. And this is going to be my full card post-fight. And how crazy is it, guys? The next UFC event is UFC 319, Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. I can't wait. I'm so excited. This is the first time in a long time that I am genuinely hyped for a card. But the Apex card we got tonight, overall, was entertaining. There wasn't really any fights of consequence, but there was some crazy finishes. There were some questionable split decisions. There were some questionable decisions overall, like in the co-main event. We'll get to that. But yeah, I'm going to go through every single fight on the card, give my reaction, my breakdown, and then we move on to UFC 319. Which I'm actually jubilant about, okay? Dricus du Plessis, Khamzat Chimaev, a week away, boys. So if you guys are interested in any UFC 319 content, make sure to like this video for no reason. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. I guess let's get into this card, okay? Let's start off with Cody Brundage versus Eryk McConico. I keep wanting to say Moicano when I say his name. Brundage loses. McConico wins via split decision. Controversial split decision. I don't hate the decision, to be quite honest. I thought in real time, Brundage is getting the decision. Brundage clearly won round two. Okay? Clearly won round two. A lot of stalling, but Brundage landed the better shots. There was some slugging. Got a takedown, a little bit of control time. Round two was clearly Brundage. Round three, Brundage was completely exhausted, getting smothered against the fence, and McConico landed the better shots in round three, but there wasn't a whole lot going on in round three, but I thought it was clearly Eryk's round. So it really comes down to the first round, and in the first round, there was a big left hand that dropped Brundage early, and then after that, Brundage stalled the entire round, until like the last 15 seconds, he landed like one knee and then threw a bunch of big shots that were mainly on the forearms. So I thought you could give rounds one and round three to McConico. Brundage was like smiling as he's like stalling in the clinch in the third round. First round, he actually got separated for stalling. And then after the horn sounded on the third round, he was like, yeah, I got this or something. I don't remember what he said, but he was like, yeah, man, I'm a Billy Badass, bro. I know people ask about the cuts videos, okay? And I don't want to be too long-winded on the first part of the night. Get Brundage out of the organization. I am tired of watching him fight. He's a bum. I swear, every fight he's like shooting in on sloppy takedowns and like hiding the head, hoping he gets hit in the back of the head so he can play victim and beg for another DQ win. I'm tired of this dude. Get him out of the organization. He has no cardio. So I'm glad he lost. It was not a robbery by any means, because nothing happened in the first round outside of McConico landing that left hand early and then Brundage landing a couple shots late and stalling in between there. And then 2 and 3 were pretty clear in my opinion. So McConico gets it done over Cody Brundage. Get him out of the UFC. Next fight on the card. And by the way, if you're wondering why I don't have this expanded, it's because the UFC website sucks every week. Week in and week out, it doesn't work. Multi-billion-dollar organization can't get their website in order. Anyway, next fight on the card, we have Gilbert Fernandes versus Julius Stoliarenko. What is there to say? Gilbert Fernandes wins. First round was outstriking her, landing some good body kicks. Second round, cut her open with like a jab / like a short left hand. Third round was a close round. Stoliarenko was kind of walking her down a bit. It was competitive on the feet. Stoliarenko was clinching up, looking for some takedowns, but wasn't really able to ever get a takedown or really get any top position at all. And so the third round could have went either way. I think the judges had all 3 rounds for Gilbert Fernandes. But yeah, Fernandes beat her up with body kicks in the first round, jabbed her up in the second round. Third round was competitive. Don't really care about this fight because neither girl is going anywhere, ever. But Fernandes gets it done via decision. Next fight on the card, we have Uros Medij versus Gilbert Urbina. Brutal KO win for Uros Medij in the first round. Medij got dropped with a right hand early, but then was able to scramble right back up. And then Urbina, I guess he got some confidence off dropping him with that right hand. He starts rushing in. He eats a left hand. He continues to kind of rush in. He then eats a knee and then another left hand that just puts him down bad, man. He was done off the left hand. Medage lands one ground and pound shot, puts him completely out brutally. Medage gets it done. I mean, what's there to say about this fight? It lasted 1 minute and 3 seconds. Medage is a nasty finisher, and Urbina's just really not that good. And I think he got overconfident, landed one good right hand, and all of a sudden he's like, man, I got this guy. I'm going to get him out of here. Look at his hairline. He's old. He's been around forever. I'm going to get him out of here. I'm younger. I don't even know what their ages are off the top of my head, to be quite honest. But yeah, brutal KO win for Uros Medage. Not a whole lot to say about this fight. There wasn't a whole lot of shots. I mean, as you can see right here, I mean, not that I believe these stats ever, but 6-5. 6-5. I really think Urbina just got overconfident from the early success with that right hand and just rushed in and ended up paying for it. Medage puts him out cold in the first round. Next fight on the card, we have Jocelyn Edwards versus Priscilla Cachoeira. Jocelyn Edwards. Have these words ever been spoken before tonight? Jocelyn Edwards with a brutal first round KO. I wonder if those words have ever been spoken in the history of mankind before tonight. I don't think so. Priscilla Cachoeira, as you guys know, is a straight up scrub, but she has decent hands. She has decent power. Early Edwards shot it on a takedown. Cachoeira defended very easily. And I think she got overconfident because on paper, clearly she's the better striker. She proceeds to march in with her hands down at her waist like she's at the Kentucky State Fair women's title fight for a funnel cake and $150. And she's walking forward on Jocelyn Edwards, throwing big shots and not even really landing. Landing on occasion, but really nothing. This was, by the way, after she eye poked her. Priscilla Cachoeira should be outside the organization for trying to eye gouge her way out of a submission a while ago against Jillian Robertson. But anyway, after that, she just starts marching forward with no respect for Edwards, thinking she's going to outstrike her. She starts eating left hooks to the point DC's like, yeah, man, if she keeps doing this, she's going to get dropped badly. And then, boom, she eats another left hook. Picture perfect right hand from Jocelyn Edwards. Slumps her down. She's basically done at that point. But then Edwards follows up with a picture perfect right hand. I believe it was. It might have been a left hand, but I'm pretty sure it was a right hand ground and pound shot. Slumped her out cold. In the first round, 2 minutes and 24 seconds into the first round, Jocelyn Edwards slumped Priscilla Cachoeira. I know, sounds insane. And what's crazy is, like, I'm not going to, like, all of a sudden get overhyped on Jocelyn Edwards. Her striking actually looked good. I mean, Cachoeira looked like such shit that she made Jocelyn Edwards look like an elite striker. I know if you haven't watched the card and you're watching this breakdown, and you're watching this particular fight breakdown, you're probably like, no way, Joe. I'm telling you, go watch it. Jocelyn Edwards is looking like prime Anderson Silva versus Forrest Griffin as Priscilla Cachoeira just charges in. And she paid for it. She paid for it. Get Cachoeira out of the UFC as well. Great KO win from Jocelyn Edwards. To be honest, she deserves that performance of the night. She deserves it. Brutal KO. Looked good. Kept her composure. She didn't get the early takedown. And she slumps out Cachoeira in the first round. Next fight on the card. This was a scary one, boys. We have Elijah Smith versus Toshiomi Kazama. Brutal first round KO win for Elijah Smith. Call it a Batista bomb. Call it a last ride, Undertaker's finishing move. This was one of the most brutal KOs I have ever seen in my entire life. Picked him up over his head, put his hand on his jaw, and slammed him into the mat with his full body weight and full force. I literally thought Kazama was dead. I thought he was dead. I thought the way he laid there and just the brutality of the finish. By the way, shit camera work. So whoever's working in the production truck, whoever is like calling out the camera angle, shit camera angle, by the way. Live, you couldn't even barely see the finish. The replay was absolutely brutal. But essentially, this fight was Kazama. I think he pulled guard early after like a flying knee from Elijah Smith. And then he proceeded to roll for leg locks and just get fucking wrecked on the ground with brutal ground and pound. There was 12-6 elbows. He's constantly rolling for leg locks. There were some fence grabs from Elijah Smith. I don't think they saved him from any subs, but it was getting kind of annoying how he was like trying to roll out of the leg lock and he's like grabbing onto the fence a bit. But eventually Kazama says, you know what, I'm getting really brutally smashed on the ground while I'm rolling for these leg locks against a fresh Elijah Smith. Let me go for a triangle choke. The second he goes to lock up the triangle choke, right before that he went for an armbar, by the way. Then he starts to look for the triangle choke. Elijah Smith picks him up above his head. Picks him up above his head like I would do to a certain live chat member. If you know, you know. Okay? You bum. And slams him down so hard, I thought his neck was going to break. And there might have even been a head clash as they both hit the ground. He was out cold. Horrible camera angle. Don't give these guys an Emmy. And what's crazy is you didn't really see it live because of the bad camera angle, but on the replay. So Kazama's out cold the second he touches the mat. Elijah Smith stands up. Kazama's laying flat, dead on the mat. 2 brutal shots. Just firing, just cocking back and firing. Luckily, the second one, he kind of pulled back a little bit. But, man, it was a filthy KO. Probably KO of the year. Crazy finish. And I guess Kazama next time will learn. You know, if someone picks you up over their head, they're going to give you a Batista bomb, a last ride. I haven't seen it in a while, but The Undertaker, his last ride back in the day, his finishing move, that's basically what this was. That's basically what this was. And it was absolutely filthy and scared me, actually. I was actually terrified that Kazama was going to die afterwards. Everyone was concerned. Got slammed right on his head and neck, man. It was actually scary, but nasty win from Elijah Smith. I think he's a very interesting prospect in the bantamweight division. Can't wait to see where he goes from here. This isn't a great win by any means because Kazama's a scrub, but still what he did to him, it makes me excited to see his next fight. Anyway, next fight on the card, up the card, the featured prelim. We have Julius Walker versus Rafael Cerqueira. Cerqueira, I think is how you pronounce his name, actually. Look, Rafael Cerqueira was walking him down a bit early, but then got taken down, controlled. Walker was looking for subs nonstop. Second round, Walker kicked a leg out from underneath him. Cerqueira stumbled, ended up getting control on the ground. Walker was looking for subs again. Third round, Walker's completely exhausted. Cerqueira starts walking him down a bit, landing good shots. And it's looking like, oh my God, Walker may get finished in the third round. Then Walker drops him badly. And then Cerqueira survives. He ends up scrambling back up. But then he ends up going for a guillotine and ending up on bottom for like the last 2 minutes. So I had Walker winning all 3 rounds. Maybe you could give Cerqueira the third round, but man, he fumbled the bag badly looking for that guillotine because Walker was completely and utterly exhausted in that third round. But yeah, this fight, it was kind of what everyone expected for the most part. Basically domination by Julius Walker outside of the third round where Walker was completely exhausted. So Walker definitely needs to work on his gas tank. Cerqueira needs to work on his fight IQ because he's going to be kicking himself if he watches back that third round because he could have had a finish, man. Walker was completely exhausted, running for his life in the third round. But then once he got on the ground, he kind of rested a bit and got a second win and ends up winning all 3 rounds. Next fight on the card, opening up the main card, we have Eryk Anders versus Christian Leroy Duncan. Eye poke and groin shot early for Christian Leroy Duncan. You might as well just cheat in every single fight because you get away with it anyway. Anders got an early takedown, but CLD scrambling right back to his feet. I wonder if Dean Thomas wants to give CLD a title shot because, oh man, he's got 3 letters, man, for his nickname. It's pretty cool, man. Let's give him a title shot, bro. Anyway, Leroy Duncan back on his feet. Nasty short elbow in the clinch. They end up breaking. Christian Leroy Duncan lands 2 inside leg kicks, then a spinning back elbow that hurts Eryk Anders, then starts just following him, walking him down, smashes him with a flurry, completely melts Eryk Anders up against the fence. He sits down in a squatted position, and that was it. First round KO for Christian Leroy Duncan. Good win from Leroy Duncan. I mean, Eryk Anders isn't that good, but he's decently durable. So Leroy Duncan going out there and finishing him was decently impressive. But at the end of the day, man, I know not a lot of people are going to be talking about it, but the fouls, man, 2 fouls right before you finish him kind of delegitimizes the win a little bit. I mean, I think Christian Leroy Duncan wins regardless. He's the way better striker, and Eryk Anders wasn't going to be able to take him down and control him nonstop. And it was a flashy KO where he lands that spinning back elbow, and then he melts him up against the fence, sits him down. I mean, it was literally the definition of melting him. But you can't forget early eye poke, then a groin shot, which was really, really annoying, to be quite honest. Really, really annoying. I hope I'm remembering that correctly. But yeah, Leroy Duncan gets it done against Eryk Anders. Did you expect anything else? Regardless of how you expected this outcome, did you expect anything else? Because, you know, I know people are going to be hyping up this card because of finishes. Finishes don't always equal a great card. There's some entertainment value there, but this is a matchup we all saw what was coming for Eryk Anders in this matchup, even though he bodied the dead body of Chris Weidman, who brutally eye-poked Bruno Silva over and over and over again. Anyway, Leroy Duncan gets it done. Next fight on the card, we have Miles Johns versus Jean Matsumoto. First round was close. I thought it could have went either way. You know, Miles Johns was able to get a takedown, but really didn't do much with it. Matsumoto threatened with a guillotine at one point. I thought they were both landing, but I thought Miles Johns landed some decently big shots, loading up on that right hand. It's a close round. It could have went either way, I thought. Second round, literally in the second round, Jean Matsumoto was just walking him down, outstriking him, beating him up, ripping to the body kicks, leg kicks, landing a couple jabs that was snapping Miles Johns' head back. Clear second round for Matsumoto. And then the third round, Johns was throwing wild, but Jean was landing the better shots. I think he landed one good head kick, a couple leg kicks that took Miles Johns off his feet. I think, was this a split decision, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah, it was a split decision. I thought third round was Matsumoto pretty clearly. So I had second and third round for Matsumoto. First round could have went either way, but I leaned slightly Johns because he had a little bit of control time and it was a close round. I don't know how they came up with a split decision. There were some people saying, man, Miles Johns was robbed, bro. Matsumoto whooped him. Miles Johns a one-trick pony. Miles Johns looked exhausted after the first round. Had a little bit of a resurgence in the third, but not much. And basically Matsumoto was just chopping his legs, ripping to the body, and looked good in the second and third. And when he got taken down, he was able to scramble right back up. So there was really Miles Johns never really got him down, controlled him, and dominated him on the ground by any means. So Jean Matsumoto gets it done. It's a split decision, but luckily it's the correct decision. I think there were some weird scorecards on this fight, but I don't have it in front of me right now. But Jean Matsumoto gets it done. Next fight up the card, we have Andre Fili versus Christian Rodriguez. Split decision, boys. Split decision. This was one of two fights I got wrong on this card. Go fact check me if you don't believe me. The other fight I got wrong was Cody Brundage. I picked Cody Brundage. But this should not have been a split decision. Andre Fili won every single round. Every single round. Andre Fili hurt him with a punch in the first round, then never followed up. Low fight IQ. There was a late takedown from Rodriguez in the first round, but didn't do anything with it. Second round was closer, but Fili was just pumping the jab and landing and staying at range, and Rodriguez is just lunging in, not really landing much. And then the third round, Fili's just jabbing at range again, even mixed in a takedown. Rodriguez landed a couple decent shots towards the end where he looked for a flurry. But in my opinion, this was a clear 30-27 win for Andre Fili. And somehow a judge had it for Rodriguez. How do you have it for Rodriguez? I don't get it. I really don't get it. And look, these stats are bogus, man. I told you guys these stats are there's no way. There's no way that Christian Rodriguez landed 21 more total strikes than Andre Fili. What a joke that stat is. But yeah, basically Fili just outclassed him on the feet, popped the jab. Rodriguez had a little success. I think Rodriguez should have grappled more earlier and more often, but he wasn't able to. And it just shows Christian Rodriguez was a weight bully at bantamweight, a literal weight bully who was missing weight at bantamweight, beating up dudes because of his size advantage, who had great takedown defense. But in this fight, Fili just had the better striking, and Rodriguez was just kind of just wading in, trying to throw big shots that were rarely landing, and wasn't having much success on the feet, was getting his head snapped back and got busted up. Fili didn't even look like he got touched in this fight. So he looked the opposite of Sean Strickland. Okay? Fili did not get touched at all in this fight. And just boxed him up at range. Jab, jab, jab. I wish Fili would have took a little bit more chances because he was clearly winning, but I think he was just kind of coasting to a victory. And I feel like he could have done better, especially in the first round when he hurt him. I think he could have went after him and potentially finished him, but he hurt him and then just sat back and stared at him. Don't get it at all. But Fili gets it done via split decision, which is a crazy split decision. Next fight on the card. The featured fight of an Apex card. Featured fight. I got to scratch my eye on this featured fight, man. This was a great banger. Iasmin Lucindo versus Angela Hill. What to say about this? I mean, Iasmin Lucindo wins. It's kind of Angela Hill punching air. Third round, Lucindo got a little bit of takedown, a little bit of control. Early, she got a takedown, had her back for a little bit, but really did nothing with it. Yeah, and basically Lucindo just threw the bigger power shots and did more damage. I wonder how many people are going to watch my Iasmin Lucindo Angela Hill breakdown. Let me think of something I can say to comment down below if you're watching my Iasmin Lucindo Angela Hill breakdown. Angela, let's see. What should we comment down below? I'm trying to think of something clever. Just say Lucindo and Hill got robbed for fight of the night. If you're watching this breakdown, say that in the comments, okay? That'll be hilarious. Yeah, but Iasmin Lucindo gets it done. Angela Hill's like 75 years old. I can't wait to watch the recap of her fight on Two Straws tomorrow. I'll definitely be tuning in. I'm subscribed and I got notifications on. Shout out to Two Straws podcast. Can't wait to tune in and listen to 40-year-old Angela Hill talk about her loss against Iasmin Lucindo. She was punching air a lot. Second round was kind of close, but I mean, this fight is completely forgettable. I'm going to forget about it in like 30 seconds. Or, I'm going to forget about it in 5 seconds from now. So, yeah, Iasmin Lucindo gets it done. I think I had it 30-27. Next fight on the card, the co-main event. We have Steve Erceg versus Ode Osbourne. First round, Ode Osbourne dominated Steve Erceg. Landed like a check right hook, I think it was. Erceg looked like he was out cold going towards the fence. Then, basically, Erceg was looking for a desperation takedown, getting clubbed up a bit. Ended up with Ode Osbourne in full mount. Full mount, Ode Osbourne was smashing him. Then Erceg got a takedown, got the back for a little bit. But Ode was able to scramble and end up on top and do more damage. I thought you could give Ode Osbourne round 1 at 10-8. But even if you want to give it 10-9, fair enough. Round 2, Erceg stalled the entire round looking for takedowns. I thought Ode Osbourne clearly landed the better shots. Didn't really get taken down. Was landing decent counters. I thought going to the third, Erceg clearly needed to finish. And then the third round, Erceg was able to out-grapple him and didn't really do any damage until the very end of the round where he was able to get some damage off, some ground and pound. I think he even had the full mount a little bit. At one moment, like maybe halfway-ish through the third, Ode Osbourne got up and then tried to look for a double leg himself. And then Erceg got like a front headlock position and then tripped him down. But yeah, Ode Osbourne, cardio looks like shit, man. I mean, it didn't even look that bad in this fight, but he always fades. Erceg gets it done. I think it's borderline a robbery. I would have to go back and rewatch, and that's just something I'm not willing to do. But either way, how overrated was Erceg, man? These dudes were, I told you guys, how long I've been saying it for? You can't elevate these guys off losses. Everyone's like, man, Erceg, man, did good against Pantoja, bro. Dude's arguably losing to Ode Osbourne. Barely belongs in the organization. Getting outstruck by Ode Osbourne. Shooting for desperation takedowns against Ode Osbourne and can't even get them. All because dudes elevated him off a loss against Pantoja. But he gets a win. He's back in the win column. All the Aussie fanboys can cheer. I at least got a pick right. People were acting like round 2 was clear for Erceg, like that broadcast. What? From what? Landing no shots and failing takedowns and Ode Osbourne countering him and landing the better shots. Granted, he didn't rock him badly like he did in the first round, but he was landing the better shots. I think Ode Osbourne kind of got the short end of the stick here. I think he should have won this fight. I think he should have won 29-28. And even so, you could give round 1 10-8 for Ode Osbourne. So at bare minimum, I think it should be a draw. So Erceg, massively overrated. He gets back in the win column. But yeah, people were overrating him off a loss to Alexandre Pantoja. Also because he's Aussie. UFC gets behind the Aussie guys. The Aussie fan base gets behind him. Like, yeah, man, Steve Erceg's elite, bro. I'm a hardcore, man. I know about Steve Erceg. He's not that good. He's all right, but he's not that good. And Ode Osbourne got robbed. How crazy is that? Ode Osbourne borderline got robbed against Steve Erceg in a co-main event of a UFC Apex event. Yeah, but there you have it. There's my breakdown of the co-main event. Ode Osbourne should have won rounds 1 and 2. But at the end of the day, man, his grappling looked like shit in the third, and Erceg was able to get off some damage at the end of the third. So Ode Osbourne should have won the third. I had a feeling he was going to get robbed too. I had a feeling it was going to happen. But anyway, there's my breakdown for the co-main event. Let's move on to the main event. The main event, the middleweight fight that we were all waiting for. Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Fluffy Hernandez gets it done via 4th round, rear naked choke. Man, how do you even break this fight down? I mean, this was... Anthony Hernandez brutalized Roman Dolidze. He bullied him for the entirety of the fight. Early, it was kind of competitive. They were both trading leg kicks. They were both, having impactful leg kicks. Like Dolidze would throw a leg kick that didn't look that damaging, but it would have Hernandez kind of off balance a bit. Dolidze got taken down multiple times in the first round, but every time he would roll to his knees and look for a leg lock, kind of hinting at what was going to happen for the rest of the fight. At one point on the feet, Dolidze landed an upward, a side elbow. I don't even know what you call that. I forgot what you call that. If anybody remembers what specifically that strike you would call, but I would call it an upwards elbow. But Hernandez ate it, and Dolidze really wasn't able to do anything. I thought Fluffy won the first round. Second round, Hernandez is winning on the feet, getting easy takedowns. Dolidze is basically falling to the ground, like just wilting. Just falling to the ground, and then he would just go to his knees and roll for leg locks, and then Fluffy would back out and let him back up. Late in the second round, Fluffy smashing Dolidze. Fluffy finally decides to stay on top, starts smashing Dolidze from a stacked position. The round ends. Herb Dean jumps in. Fluffy thinks he won. Dolidze thought he lost, and meanwhile, it was just the round was over. And so they had to kind of rein it back in a little bit. The fight's still going on. So he comes back out in the third. I'm like, oh no. But then Fluffy, easy takedown again. Just riding another grown man over and over and over again. Dolidze would roll for a leg lock. Fluffy would back out, wave him back up. Sometimes Dolidze would get the leg, and Hernandez would kind of have to yank it out of his grasp. But then he would wave him back up, and Dolidze was exhausted. And then Dolidze looked like shit on his feet and was really slowing down. First and second, Dolidze would have some success in the pocket exchanging. But after the second round, Hernandez really just started to walk him down, was smiling at him, was eating shots. Dolidze was beaten up. He was bloodied. He was starting to swell around the eyes. Third round, Hernandez finally started to enter the guard a little bit, land some ground and pound. Dolidze was grabbing the fence throughout the entirety of the fight. Was grabbing the fence. Herb ended up taking a point in the 4th round right before the finish. By the way, I told you guys for Cachoeira versus Lewis, you can take a point without stopping the fight. You don't have to stop the action to take a point. I told you guys that. So he takes a point. Dolidze grabs the fence again. While Hernandez is controlling him on the ground, there's times he's looking for guillotines here and there, but ain't able to find it. Finally, Dolidze essentially quits in the 4th round. He's grabbing the fence. He eats some knees, goes down to a knee, and then Hernandez just locks up a rear naked choke and starts dragging him away like a lion dragging away gazelle, or Conor McGregor dragging away a non-consensual participant in a hotel room. Hernandez just locks up a rear naked choke, starts just pulling him away. No hooks in, completely standing. Roman Dolidze taps out. Fight's over. Hernandez absolutely bullied Dolidze. But look, I like Hernandez. I'm a big fan of Anthony Hernandez. I think he's a fun fighter to watch. Why are people acting like this is some kind of surprising result? I mean, everyone knew this was going to happen. Apparently, except Dean Thomas, who picked Roman Dolidze, by the way. Imagine how fucking stupid you got to be to pick Roman Dolidze. And I'm sorry if you're watching this video and you're like, oh yeah, I picked Roman Dolidze, man. He's a nightmare matchup for Hernandez. I apologize. If you picked Roman Dolidze to beat Hernandez, you are mentally ill. It would have had to been a fluke KO. He's sloppy. He's slow. Hernandez is better literally everywhere. Dude was just rolling to his knees. Where was the coaching at? Nixick was in his corner. I don't even know what he was saying. What kind of advice was he giving? Dude just rolling, and he was just falling down. I mean, it was like a football tackle every time Hernandez locked up with him. It was like Dolidze was just falling to the ground willingly. And then basically quit by giving up the rear naked choke. Dom Cruz even called it out on air. Just quit. But I will say this. I like Anthony Hernandez because people are going to all of a sudden say, Joey, you're a hater. You don't like Fluffy, blah, blah, blah. People are acting like this is some insane performance. He put on a performance, a good performance. Don't get me wrong. It's Roman Dolidze. They're acting like he deserves a title shot off of beating Roman Dolidze. Dean Thomas, and I don't listen to the post show, but I just happen to be listening as they changed to the post show, said something like, yeah, man, Hernandez, man, he's so good. He's the best. I think we just saw the best middleweight in the world. Something along those lines. And Chris Weidman's like, dude, you picked Dolidze. What are you talking about? It's like, yeah, man, I changed my mind, man. We got some new info. And then Alan Juban is like, if I wouldn't get copyright, I'd do an entire video. And he was like, yeah, man, I don't think there's a middleweight alive that can take Hernandez. And then there's people online. I've seen people online acting like Hernandez deserves the next title shot. And Hernandez did a little belt thing afterwards. I'm high on Hernandez. I know he's on a crazy win streak. Beating Dolidze to get a title shot? Give me a fucking break. Like, who are these NPCs? Dolidze's a scrub borderline. Okay, he beat Kevin Holland. Whoop-de-fucking-do. He beat Marvin Vettori. Whoop-de-fucking-do. He needs to fight RDR next. Anthony Hernandez, Rainer de Ritter should be next. And that can arguably be a title eliminator. I think if Imavov beats Caio Machado or Caio Baralho, I think he's next in line. Next in line after that can be Rainier de Ritter versus Anthony Hernandez. But let's not anoint him number one contender off beating Dolidze. DC was arguably acting like in the post-fight. Hey, yeah, man, you just beat the number 17th guy in the world. It was number 9. It was almost acting like it was a title shot worthy performance for beating Dolidze. Sometimes I feel like I just don't belong, man. I literally seen people talking online like, yeah, man, Hernandez should get winner, man. DDP, Hamza. What? First off, RDR just massacred Whitaker. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but you get my point. RDR has a win over Whitaker. Amavov just slumped out Adesanya. And we're talking about giving a guy a title shot who beat Dolidze. It took him 4 rounds to beat Dolidze. And again, I don't want to diminish the performance. I feel like some of these comments are making me diminish the performance. It was a great performance. But he still has a lot to prove before we start anointing him the next guy at middleweight. The next guy at middleweight. Right now, I mean, I don't know how many times I say it. Dolidze shit. That's not a number one contender making a performance. You got to fight Caio Baralho, Nasruddin Imavov, Rainer de Ritter, somebody like that, or at least like maybe like an Adesanya. Even then, it's kind of like, maybe not. He's on the decline. Strickland, maybe. I would like to see Hernandez beat up Soy Boy Sean Strickland. I would love to see that. But I think Hernandez versus RDR, maybe a title eliminator, depending on what's going on in the division at that point, because Imavov, Baralho probably should be next in line to fight Dricus du Plessis, Khamzat Chimaev, especially if it's Imavov. But yeah, some of the takes I seen after this fight were insane, but Hernandez beat the piss out of Dolidze. Dominated him, bullied him, took his lunch money. It was actually a pathetic performance from Dolidze. He had nothing to offer, and then he quit. Literally quit. There was no hooks in, standing rear naked choke. Had nothing to offer. Absolutely nothing to offer, but getting on his knees. He was on all fours the entirety of the fight, going to the ground with ease, hoping he could lock up some type of leg lock that he never even got close to. So there you go, boys. That's my breakdown of UFC Vegas 109. That's my UFC post-fight show for you. Let me know what you guys think. Am I crazy? Am I crazy for saying all this? Am I crazy for saying that Anthony Hernandez is now somehow overhyped? Maybe I've my perception of the online perception of this main event is off. You know, it just happened. Who knows? But yeah, that's crazy. But good performance from Hernandez. Complete and utter domination. I want to see him in a big fight in his next fight. Definitely a top 5 guy he deserves next. And I think he matches up with a lot of guys, and it's very interesting matchups. Him versus Strickland, him versus Adesanya, him versus Rainer de Ritter, him versus DDP if he loses. All exciting matchups. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.